Deltarune's new chapters have been out for over a month now. And when I first played it when they came out, it felt euphoric. It felt unreal that I was actually playing new Deltarune content. And playing through both chapters 3 and 4, I was filled with so many theories, emotions, just thoughts about the chapters. So today's video is a deep dive into chapter 3, explaining my theories, my thoughts, and how I felt about it all. And if you guys want to see a chapter 4 review like this, leave a like. If we hit, I don't know, like 1 or 2k likes, I'll post the chapter 4 review. And if you end up going to like this video, consider leaving a like and subscribe and joining the hashtag GOATs. You don't have to, and you can always change your mind. And comment down below your theories for chapter 3. I'm interested to read what people think about specific things that happened in the chapter. I would love to see other people's views on specific events. And with that said, enjoy the video. Chapter 3 starts off where Chapter 2 ended off. And it starts off with a bombshell of lore drop, which we kinda already knew. With Susie really wanting Rousey to come into the festival that's happening, and with Rousey dropping the bombshell that they can't leave. They're a Darkner, and they're stuck in this world. Now, I don't like Rousey, and I wish they would get hit by semi-trucks and flattened into a paste. But I have to admit that this scene where they explain about how the dark world affects the light world really hit something deep. Wait, that's the face. It also goes into how each character that we played and been with is just a object in the real world. Like the Lancer being just a playing card and the Queen being a laptop. And before Rousey can explain what he is, Susie breaks him out and we'll never know. Thanks a lot, Susie. What? Rousey goes ahead and says, forget about us. We're gonna die anyways when you steal the fountains, so duh. And before any more lore drop happens, the goat shows up. These 2 sentences has already introduced this character that we haven't even seen yet. And for a Deltarune first, it puts us into an MV, like a proper MP4 of a 3D model of Mr. Tenor, the GOAT! And Tenor's transition from his MV into his sprite is fucking insane. Less than 10 minutes in and I'm already so amazed by this. It's so cool seeing a 3D model be crushed down into pixels and presented in such a funny way with default Mixamo animations. And then they make him all sad by saying, we're not gonna play your show. And he just, man. But don't worry, we're gonna play your show, yeah! Then we are introduced to the best characters of the game from chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. These guys are the best. They're called the Shadow Men. And I love them. Bro, he's just doing the Mixamo dance! But you know, don't touch that dial, because... And when I tell you that I started spraying ropes at this section, because in a game that is already pixelated, how low can you go? 8-bit. He's genius! This part, so clearly inspired by old Legend of Zelda games, is so cool. And having all the characters act on their own like they are actually being played by the other characters is such a nice touch. They're not confined to following you. They have their own minds and they just do their own thing. In this pixelated world, we have to find 3 keys and the Moonstone, with one you have to pay for and a couple that you just have to find. And the Moonstone, you actually have to fight these 2 new characters. But we're not there yet. Oh shit, it's the Shadow Man! And one of the newest things in this chapter, which is the most experimental thing I've seen yet, you actually have to shoot these guys. You have to shoot their socks off. And they weirdly seem happy about it. Quiz now! And now I'm forced to answer questions I don't remember. Of course, I know what his name is. That's the GOAT, Mr. Tenor. But I don't know what his heading is. And who's the name of this kid? That's Mr. Generosity. That's him. Now, I didn't realize it yet, but one of the most crucial things about this chapter is getting a high score per level. So answering all the quizzes right, doing good fights in fast turns and having high TP, and other aspects go towards a final score on the round. Now, on my first playthrough, of course I didn't know this, and I didn't realize how important it would be later on. We then pick up the Croissant of Power, and Susie takes it, and instantly crushes Rousey under the... Quiz now! Now, this is interesting. There's one question at the very end of this one where Chris sneezes and takes control and takes you to the answer. I don't think too deep about this, but it was very obvious beforehand that Chris's favorite food was pie, and having it switch on its own to pie is a neat little touch. Who knows, you're about to see a lore video on why did Chris sneeze at that question. It's because Gaster took over and he really likes pie. And for some reason, Lancer's here. Why? He somehow is in this world, and we have to save him so that he can give us an ability to dig, which in turn clogs the fountain and gives us a key. Now, the two weather people don't like that we just clogged up their beautiful oasis and want to kill us. Now, this is La Nino and El Nina. They are the two weather people who are having kind of ego relationship problems. Oh, and by the way, this Root Buster remix is so fucking good. There's a specific section of this song that makes me, like, genuinely feel warm inside. I don't explain it. I feel so excited when I hear it. But anyways, over the course of this fight, the two will start basically having an ego match, with me just casually just picking act on the sun guy. Future Speed's here. I call this guy the sun guy too much. Even though he's a moon, he's a crescent moon. We'll do a little game. Every time I call him the sun guy, take a shot. And I'm not legally responsible for anything that happens. And him basically saying, "Aw, he's picking me, thank you." And honestly, the Rain Woman is right. I literally did just pick him because he's the first option. And over the course of the fight, you can tell that specific attacks become more weaker and more sloppy. They're no longer this synchronized couple. They didn't ask you, who did you like more in the attack? And of course, I picked Rain because she's adorable. Which now means that her attacks are stronger and the Sun's ones get weaker. And it throws this fight into a discourse of unarranged and messy and uncoordinated. And depending on you pick, the other person will just leave. They're through. Because of the way that the other was acting, they don't feel loved or appreciated. They let the ego get the best of them. And with that, with no one to help support them, they feel empty. They feel useless. They forgot how much this person meant to them. They look for validation in the other, but there's no one there. And just like that, you win. You get the Moonstone, and you can move on. And those two quizzes we did before gave us these two big cues, which we can put on this big question. Guess what? Quiz! Now this shocked me, actually. It remembered my save from chapter 1, where I had to build a robot. And I actually remembered that the body was the thing that was wrong. It's so nice that previous acts have effects on later things, whether it be small or big. It's cute. Yet again, Chris sneezes and just tells us the answer. It's not really a quiz. I could answer it. And after beating that quiz, he used his big fat nose to unblock the path and we get a key. One left and then we're done. Going to shop, we just buy the final key and now we're out of this bitch. You are now a chef. This is one of the physical challenges of this round. And when I tell you this is some bullshit, I mean it. Susie is useless. All she does is cause problems and fire that damages you and makes you lose points. Whilst Azriel is actually Whilst Rousey is actually cooking the food and actually helping. In this mode, you basically just have to capture the food, give it to the Shadow Men, and when special guest shows up, you should give them the most amount as they give you crazy score. You can tell this is the first sign of things to come from Toby, just having fun making game modes, especially in a whole chapter based around a TV show. Now, for a first playthrough, getting an A rank on the first round, I'm patting myself in the back, because at this point, I didn't know I needed an S rank. So I thought, you know what, first the worst, second the best, S the worst, A the best. And with that, round 1 is complete. Wait! Hacha! There's a second round. And just like that, we are teleported to the green room, where he does the fucking Mixamo dance again. This green room is basically like the break room. You go in there to buy healing, buy new items, to save, and if you got an S rank, you could do something for the secret boss. But I didn't. More on that later. There is this game that you can play on the TV with Susie, and you are able to move. You're able to press buttons and actually impact the game. And I don't know if this is a secret or not. I don't know if there's anything I'm supposed to do here that will like make a different outcome, but it generally feels like there is, since there is directional input. Or maybe it's just me turning into a theorist and there's nothing to it. It's just a fun little thing. Now, because I got an A rank, I have access to all 3 special rooms. The 3 doors labeled A, B, and C give you various different things, with some being useless and some being actually pretty useful. With one room, they're just drinking water by a water machine. Oh, but I bet you didn't realize that was a fight! Yes, you fight the hardest boss in chapter 3. A water machine. And I'm not even joking. For a normal enemy in the game, this has one of the most annoying attacks of all time. The middle grows and you have no space to move and get around. It genuinely is a pretty hard fight. The B room has a gacha machine that you can roll for something gold. And first try, I kind of dumped all my money into it and actually got it. I still don't know what it does. I just have it. I don't want it. And the A room actually allows you to go and replay the game that you just played because you really want to do that. But also you can pay 500 coins to play a special stage, one where Susie turns into a Godzilla on a set and has to stop people from attacking Mr. Tenor. It's a fun little thing. I think Susie looks cute in the outfit. On to round 2. But just before that, we bump into Antenna mid-conversation with someone, talking about something being located in the Purple Cliffs, not to waste time. Assembly, air holes, soft soothing music. They need time. One more board? What's going on here? Mr. Tenor, I'm starting to think you're not good. You might be a bit evil. And I do find this part pretty cute. Despite all of his evil foreshadowing, I really do like how Susie tells him that she and Rousey are having a great time doing this, as it's time they're spending together and they actually get to do stuff together. Because they said that before. They wanted Rousey to come to the light world so that they can hang out, but that couldn't happen. So this is the best alternative. Round 2. Ooh, it's sponsored by the Dark Fountain. The main reason we're here. And just like that, we're sent back into the 8-bit Zelda reference. And now this time, we have to take 3 grand photos. But also to progress, we need to bring the lovers together. Because once the lovers are together, the Rainbow Bridge to Atlantis will appear. But this time around, there's actual puzzles that Susie takes and switches your controller so that she can look smart. So you do all the work and she reaps all the rewards. I will say, I really do like that Rousey and Chris just kind of like walk around each other and then suddenly they turn into a surfboard. And you could use Rousey as a stepping stone. Rousey likes being stepped on. There's something that happens in chapter 4 where he talks about being stepped on. Here is where we take our first grand image. A flower that looks like shit. Now, I spent around an hour looking for these 2 other photos to realize that I had to find Lancer and have him open up this fountain that heals me to take a picture of him playing in the fountain. And that's... Man, another hour later, I realized there's a cactus in a tree line, which is also apparently a grand image. Now, I didn't know that the room on the left in the camera room tells you hints. I didn't know that. I feel stupid. We go back to the room with the photos, and now we unlock a raft. Now this is where I knew something would happen. Something hidden, or something scary, something would happen. And I was right. Going down the main path, you have the option to go left, which is a pretty big gap, or right, which is a tinier gap. And there's nothing really around here besides the Tropic of Love, which plays... I don't know why it does this. Going to the left, we can actually pick up the Sun Guy to reunite them with the Rain Girl so that they can open the bridge to Atlantis. But I wasn't done there. I just had to go out from the cave and go up. And to the left, I found a whole lawnmower game, which I don't know if it did anything, it just gave me more score to a final result. And going up from here, you can see Mr. Tenor getting more and more aggressive as I kept going up, eventually telling Mike to cut the feed. And taking us back to the cave entrance. Now, why would he do that? Well, later on you'll figure out why. Going back up this area, it now has roadblocks. You can't get there anymore. It says under construction. Now, after looking around for a while, I know that there was nothing else I could do here. But, knowing that he doesn't want me to go there, surely that has some importance later on, which it does. But not in this game. More on that later. We go back to the main story and reunite them together, only to find out... Gasp! Roxas' card he's a homemaker! But it's okay, they form a polyamorous relationship and they're chill, I guess. We get to Atlantis and bang. We are motherfucking rock stars. Thank the heavens I'm good at rhythm games because I pretty much FC'd this game. For something that's a side mode in... Hey, Susie? I was talking. For something that's a side mode in a big chapter filled with content, this rhythm game feels really good to play. It's responsive, it has ghost tapping, it's synced to the song. It's a really good side rhythm game that just exists in this game, and I really do appreciate it. And with that all said and done, I get my round 2 results. S rank, baby. But wait, breaking news! Because we hit a donation goal, We are doing a bonus round. Back to the green room now. And now that I have an S rank, of course I'm gonna go check the room. And now are you ready for the best moment in all of gaming history? Now from here I went into the bonus room for the secret boss, but I'm going to wait until after the chapter review, because for me to do the secret boss and whatever's here, I needed to actually S rank both and do this 2 times. But just know I was confused the entire time, because if you don't do that, you get a screen that says, aren't you forgetting something important? If I only got S rank earlier, maybe there would be something I missed, which obviously tells me that I gotta replay the whole fucking chapter to do it. Going to the guard on the right door and doing nothing pisses him off to the point where he fights you, and you can spare him or fight him to get him away from the door, taking you into this really dark room with multiple TVs in the back and a pass-coded door that you have to play the games and figure out the puzzles to work. Now, I'm not going to tell you how this puzzle works because that would be spoiling a puzzle that you should solve on your own. It's basic shit. And we get another beautiful bit of dialogue asking if Susie is okay, since they've been acting off. I mean, if you were told that someone that you became friends with wasn't real and they would die the second the fountains are all sealed, I'm pretty sure I'd be a little upset as well. I won't lie. Also, Chris apparently is a furry here. I don't really... Yeah. Then we reach the cold place, the cold open, the wide world, the fucking outside of the place. It's cold. It's not the Atlantic, but it's cold. And it's here where we see where the dark fountain resides. Not only that, the grand prize of the TV show we're playing is Toriel. Because remember, Toriel was there during the sleepover when Chris opened the dark fountain. So it's only obvious that she would be here somewhere. Now, it's not really known the importance of Toriel here, but it's very obvious that Mr. Tenor needs her for something, because he describes Toriel as their trump card before picking up the ball and oh! Ooh, we're in round 3! But this time around, it's different. Susie doesn't want to play the game anymore. They've seen Toriel, and now they know that there's a bigger objective here than playing a game. They just want to go seal the dark fountain and get over with it. But Tenor knows that that can't happen. Ralsei says, it's getting stale, it's getting boring. So Tenor says, we'll do one more game until you like it, trapping you within the capsules and forcing you to play the game. Now, I don't know what happens if you actually play along with this game. In this run, I specifically objected against it. Mr. Tenor himself goes up to the TV and he starts playing the pixel game now. He's the one going to the quizzes, he's the one doing all the fights, he's the mastermind here. He forces you into quizzes that I didn't answer. I was resenting, I was refusing to participate in this game, forcing me back into minigames that I've already played with a more darker tone. There's no food here. I'm just dodging fire and watching black cubes go from right to left. Then he randomly starts talking about the pipes. He knew he shouldn't have done it, but pipes go somewhere. They had to. He then takes us to a fight with the Shadow Man where we actually shoot Tenor instead, forcing him to fire the Shadow Man, which is unfair. He should start the union and he should fight for his job and sue the company. He then puts it into the rhythm game where he says the music's coming and that he can't stop it. I didn't play. I refused to play. And you can tell that he's clearly getting upset that we're not participating. We're tanking the views on his show, the reputation of it all. One interesting note I like to mention is that I really enjoy how people are clearly afraid of him. They don't want to participate. Because that one section where he's running after the quiz instead of the quiz running after you like it usually does. I really like that detail. It's small, but it says a lot. He then takes you to a fight with the Zapper. You have to build up TP to turn off the TV, which then lets you escape and hide, whilst Tenor goes insane. All hands on deck! Let's find the Lightners! Now we're in what I like to call the main stage. Going back to the basics gameplay, walking around in specific areas, and this one, I think, being backstage. From the bat, you go behind a curtain and told you need to be on set, and you get transported into the shooting minigame, where Ralsei's a horse. Whilst you shoot the Shadow Men, which I didn't want to do because I don't want to shoot them! I love them! Oh, quiz time! Yeah, now you randomly have to answer 2 questions per... sometimes. They kind of jump scare you a bit. And some of the questions are stupid. Like, what does banana end in? Are we serious? Are we 5? I got it wrong. If you play on Pacifist Run, you get to this scene here where all the Shadow Men are like so tired that they have to do all this paperwork. And if you pick up a controller, you can go and save them. Go destroy all the paperwork. And they're so happy. And they all join your village. I don't think you understand the amount of joy that these characters give me. I love them so much. And whilst I was on the main story, I managed to find something that made me very happy. I found the bonus zone, which is a bunch of open chests with a big one at the end. But when I went to that next screen, I'm just gonna let my reaction speak for itself. No! No way! Yeah! Let's go! I told people that Spamton is not dead, that he's alive. And people doubted me. They said I was crazy. Well, who's laughing now? Whoop, then polyamorous Roxas shows up. And it's very obvious that Sun and Rain don't want to be there. And Roxas has to kind of fight us, but he knows that he's gonna lose, so the fight mainly just consists of dancing. Every action you have gets turned into acts, and you can only dance until the boy shows up and pulls out his Lancer card. Basically allows you to steal whoever Roxas summons. The one thing I absolutely adore about this fight is when Roxas pulls out the laser pointer. And you can tell that this is motion tracked from something. I love it so much for that. You could tell Toby had so much fun just wiggling his mouse over the fight. Because those are human inputs. Near the end of the fight, Rain and Sun open up to each other, as they both agree that they don't like being in a polyamorous relationship. So they both leave, and Roxas says that was part of his plan. Alonso shows up, said some guys aren't being paid, and he bolts. He never showed up again, and he was probably hung for what he did. As we progress, we see that everyone's just leaving. All the henchmen are leaving, Rain and Sun, even Mike, the man that Tanner depends on, he leaves. He really is now out of options. He works for himself and no one else is. Going through the TV room again, we actually begin the fight against Mr. Tanner, as he tries to take us back for a third round, but talks to Chris about how he feels neglected, forgotten, unused, as he is Chris's old TV. He talks about how the family used to be around him all the time, family and friends sitting around the TV and watching the shows, but as time's gone on, people stopped. At the end of chapter 2, Susie pulls the remote out from the couch, and it's dusty. It's not been used for a while. He's actively pleading and begging you not to leave him. And that turns into a fight, the Mr. Tanner fight. Now, to beat this, you need to get 1,000 score. And honestly, it's not that hard. A lot of his attacks are really simple and easy to avoid. It's almost like he doesn't want to hurt you. And the one thing I love about this fight is the minigames. It feels like a WarioWare game. I love this boss fight so much. His awesome screen slash move, which is so tough. Taking you to the rhythm game section that actually syncs with the boss theme. And to end the fight, you get back to back to back to back minigames until you eventually just have to shoot Tanner. And that causes him to stop breaking and basically gives up. Like I said before, Tanner just wants to be watched. He doesn't want to be ignored or forgotten about. After all he knows is to be a TV, to entertain. Rousey comes in and says, but we're not real. We shouldn't make the Lightners worry. And that's when Susie steps in. And we get a bit of backstory about Susie's past. About how people would only be friends with her as a joke. How she never made real friends. And that she always ends up just moving away from everyone. And that now, because of the Dark World, Susie has more friends than ever. Chris, Rousey, Lancer. And that someone out there is willing to take a TV. That someone's got to want a TV. That he can be used. That brings him back to life. He's super happy. And dead. He's dead. Oh yeah, Torio was in the prize thing. They got Torio out, but yeah, he's dead. But that single attack that killed Tanner is the start of Deltarune. The start of the actual true story, where everything gets turned from a light-hearted story into the most serious and dark story that Deltarune's ever had. That's when we fight against the Roaring Knight. The knight that we've heard so much about through these previous chapters. We're facing him right now. He killed Tanner and now we're fighting it. Now, where this fight is possible to beat without a specific item you get pre-secret boss, it's pretty much impossible. But it is doable. There are people out there who have done no-hit runs of this. But the game is designed that for a normal route, you die and go down. With Susie holding back the knight from taking Torio, and motherfucking Undyne shows up. And as quick as she showed up, she's gone. The knight takes her away, and Susie and Chris go right after him. As that knight has now traveled into the light world, taking Undyne to the bunker. That bunker has been the face of so many theories over the years that it's insane to know that we're finally talking about it now. That we're finally interacting with the bunker. The bunker gets shut before we reach it, and Susie starts freaking out. And during this freak out, a panel shows up, a code lock. They don't know why they took Undyne there, or why they were trying to take Toriel. So many questions unanswered. Susie wants to try and find someone to tell us how to open it, but we can't talk about it. We can't tell anyone about it, because it's Dark World smoke. That's another Dark World. If more people go in, they fear they might die. Susie gives up and suggests that they just go back and seal the fountain, as there's nothing they can do now. And just like that, Chris walks towards the door. On the door's shelter was a strange panel. It looked like a digital security lock. There were 3 entry fields, and there were 3 symbols besides them. One had a pine tree beside it. One had an officer's badge beside it. And one had the Deltarune. I am so glad that Toby released Chapter 3 and 4 together, because if I had ended Deltarune with that being the ending, and I'd have to wait months to find out, I would go insane. I would be put in a padded cell, and I would probably start screaming and shitting myself. Because that ending is implying that whoever is in there knows about Chris. They want Chris to come in, or Chris knows the combination maybe. It's really hard to sort of tell or figure out what that ending meant, but what I do know is that it's important. From this point on, I'm going to be talking about the secret boss of Chapter 3, and if you don't want to be spoiled in that and want to find out for yourself what it is, just skip to the timestamp on screen, and that will take you to my Chapter 4 review. But if you're not, let's get started! Now, I kind of pieced together how to access the secret boss, and it was via the S-rank doors. Where in my first ever run, I managed to get the round 2 S-rank door. When I completed it, it said I was missing something. So I replayed the chapter again and got an S-rank on round 1, and that's when this started. Once you receive an S-rank on round 1, you can go into a room labeled the S-rank room, where a guard will check if you have the status and you'll be allowed in. You'll be let into a rundown area, but on the door on the left, a little guy will talk to you and let you into a room with a custom version of the game that you've been playing. You go to play it, but you don't have a controller. So shit, you go back and suddenly one is on the floor. You go back again and you're playing it again. From the get-go, this game already starts strangely. Your soul is in the middle, as if your soul is playing this, not Chris. There's so many enemies around, but I can't interact with anything, I can't damage anything, they don't damage me. I don't know what to do. But that's until I go back down to where the mailroom was, and that's where I find the sword. This sword is crucial. The more enemies you kill, the more levels you get. The higher levels you get, the more things you can just break. At lower levels, I can't attack specific things, but with more levels, I can actually beat them. I can now break shrubs. I can now one-shot enemies. At level 3, I can break cactuses, which allows me to progress further than I've ever seen before. At max level, I can now break trees and kill this weird bird. I'm already feeling really eerie just being here with the music just cutting off. And yes, I did sit and actually chop down every tree I could find in this area just to see if there's anything. Coming out, I don't know where to go because I can take trees now, so I just go up. And that's where I find it, the ice key. The ice key kicks you out the game, and that's where I knew that was the piece that I was missing when I first played it. Fast forward, I S-rank round 2 and go back into that game, where things are very obviously different. This is the round 2 room, but I can't help but feel like something's wrong. After picking up the sword again, I already know what I have to do, get to max level. Now for this round specifically, I want you to remember what I said previously about the hidden area that you were blocked off from by Tenna and Mike. In this game, that doesn't happen. Now that you're able to destroy bushes, you go up the fountain and you go to the area that you couldn't access in the normal game, and once you go left, there's nothing stopping you. After going up for the abyss of ocean, you come to land, and a door that you're now able to open with the ice key. The music here really does set the tone for this entire area. I'm in the depths. I'm in a dungeon that I'm unfamiliar with. I don't know what I have to do, but I'm being told to follow the white cloak. And the forbidden path began with ice magic. I have a small theory with this white cloaked character. And if you don't know the Snowgrave route, I'm going to pre-warn you now, I'm going to be talking about the Snowgrave route, and to go to this timestamp if you don't want to be spoiled. But it's been a while since Snowgrave, so I have a feeling that this is supposed to represent Noelle, as it's very obvious in the Snowgrave route that you're pretty abusive towards Noelle when it comes to becoming stronger. And to get this character on screen to act, you need to hit them. You need to abuse them to use their power. I feel like that symbolizes Noelle in such a way. Following the cloak won't move unless they know that that's the right path. So you just have to wait for a path that the cloak will follow, and you'll eventually get to a hallway. A hallway that seals behind you, and you come to a door. The door is locked. The ice key was used up. She was used up. Going through the door, a voice calls out to you. and says, "Well done, you found my secret hiding place, but there's nothing here, is there?" Ignoring his message, you walk up and find something. He lied, you piece of shit, and it tells you that you got the shelter key. After the voice says that thank you for your help, it says that you were used up. What that means, I don't really know. There seems to be correlation with Tenna wanting to be used and not to be forgotten, whereas it seems like there's a fear of someone being used up to a point where there's nothing more that they can offer. Now fast forward to when everyone leaves Tenna, and the world becomes sort of covered in snow, what it seems like. You can go back into the S-rank room where you eventually come back to the game for a third time. This third time will be your last. This time around, you're with your party members, and you're in what seemed to be a city. What I assumed at first was a recreation of the light world, but I was wrong. This could be where the pipe leads that Rena talks about. Now, the one thing I didn't know whilst playing this was that I accidentally swung at my teammates and took their lives. Now, I didn't know that that happened, but looking back at the footage, it seems like I would have to have sacrificed them to continue on, to be able to cut the ropes to progress. You go for a manhole cover, and there you're greeted with a weirdly dark world. One that is a lot harder than the previous ones that you've done. You're alone now, so you have to tank this. There's no help. There's a room where there is a shadow demon that copies your every move. And once you're done solving the puzzle, that shadow creature has to come and kill itself so that you can progress. This could mean anything. But if in my head, I kind of see it as Chris and the soul, and one thinking that it doesn't need the other, when in reality they both work in tandem. After reaching max level, you can progress onward to an empty hallway, where you actually meet up with Tenna, where what I assume he's talking about Spamton. Talking about how he was going to make him a star and give him all of the advice that he had, and all they had to do was tell him what his secret was. And that was how to become a big shot. And then he got a phone call that changed everything. The phone call we heard about so much in chapter 2. That phone call had so many effects on other people, especially Tenna, who assumes that Spamton just abandoned him. What gets so weird here is that Tenna then sees Chris and said, "I did what you asked me to, and that you're not going to turn me off again, are you? And to progress, you need to kill Tenna." Going along the path, you come to the shelter, where Chris, that's controlling the game, actively tries to stop you from getting close, moving your character away. That's until you get into the shelter where, well, there's no going back. And that's when you show up to the room. The unnamed person talks about how you are still looking for the shadow crystals, and that you need the shadow mantle that he is holding. He talks about how you're not doing this for the greater good, you're doing it because you're enjoying it. Now, I don't know what this creature is or what it's called. I'm just going to call it Shadow Demon for now. The Shadow Demon boss fight is the most unfair fight I have seen in a while. I unironically think I had a harder time doing this fight than the fights in chapter 4. And it's just because I'm not used to actual physical fights. I'm so used to strategic planning and moving around my soul. This boss has 4 phases. And honestly, you've just got to keep bashing him and avoiding all the projectiles and fire attacks. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that hard, but because there's so much blocking you, it's really kind of hard. One of the phases, you see the creature that was at the beginning of the chapter. Almost like this guy can summon and control the shadow creatures. These guys, unironically, are a lifesaver when it comes to this fight, as they drop the candy that helps you heal. Now, the way I beat this fight was once I got to the segment right before he turns into the flame and comes down at you for like 5 minutes. I just tanked damage and just kept attacking him to skip that phase, as I genuinely did not know how long it lasted. I just knew I wanted the fight done with and that phase done. And just like that, I took him down. And after beating the fight, the Shadow Demon says that that's what he wanted to see. He wanted you to be him because your eyes can't hide it. The knife grows dull. And says that they both have work to do, and that if you want the mantle, you just gotta go take it. But the problem is, your little character can't reach it, and one of the most craziest things happens. Your little guy breaks out the game, and goes towards Chris. What feels like a living embodiment of your soul, you're meeting them in person, and he walks away, with you having to just break the 4th wall and go into the game. I think this part symbolizes that Chris now knows that they're in a game. It sounds stupid to say that, but that character came out the game. And they walked straight into it and interacted with elements inside the game. Now I know what you're thinking. Surely that couldn't be the secret boss fight. And you're kind of right. That fight that just took place in the Shadow Mantle that we just got now allows us to retry the night. and also greatly protects us against the dark attacks, meaning that we can take so many more hits from hit attacks, with Rousey and Susie not being so lucky. Now this night fight is hard. It took me almost 3 hours to beat it. Now, there are probably some Deltarune pros out there who are like, wow, 3 hours? This is like 20 minutes. And yeah, but I'm new! This fight took a long time. And some of his attacks were bullshit. And some of his attacks hit me when they clearly didn't. Or it spawned right on top of me. And there's this one section where these knives come at you rapid fire that I kept losing at. And I know that was near the end. But then it happened. I got to the final bit in a VC with friends.
Let me see where speed is at.
You're on the cusp of it, speed. I know I keep saying that. Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh no.
You got it.
Oh.
This is it.
Oh
Right,
fuck.
You need to dodge for real life. It doesn't matter what you do right now. So if you want to block, go for it.
You have to heal Rousey. Oh my.
With what items?
Bro, it's gonna be fine.
It's full screen, so.
Rousey could have healed himself.
Oh shit.
What's it?
This doesn't seem too hard.
You're dodging, bro. I don't think it stops there.
Okay, this is pretty tough. Oh.
Fuck, that's so awesome.
You can just attack like normal.
Yeah.
There you go.
You did it, Speeds. Holy
Alright,
fuck.
Fucking. You know that took me 4 hours? And once you do that final attack, he starts bugging out. You genuinely somehow damaged the knight. Instead of trying to beat the knight, Susie tries to finish it off, but to no avail. But in doing so, we get a shadow crystal, the item that drops with every secret boss. What this is implying is that the shadow crystals are the swords of the knights. Tiny fragments and pieces that have fallen off the blades, which I can only help but theorize that we are collecting them for a late chapter entry where we have to put the shards together to build a dagger. And the scene at the end, the knight knocks out Susie and Rousey but keeps Chris up as Chris kneels and the knight looks like it's knighting Chris. And then from then on, everything continues the same, but just with that extra bit of lore. I have a theory that the knight and Chris aren't allies, but share the same goal. There's not much to make that theory valid besides speculation. And that being said, that's chapter 3. My honest thoughts about chapter 3, well, here's my reaction after beating it. I just beat chapter 3! What the fuck? What the fuck? Chapter 3 really feels like the send-off to the goofier sort of chapter, with chapters 1, 2, and 3 being more silly, more not serious, more playful. And at the end of chapter 3, it really feels like, with the appearance of the knight and them going into the bunker, it feels like we're just about to get started in the true Deltarune story. If I was to rank every aspect, I'd give the fights an 8, the music a 6, and overall theming, I think it's a pretty solid 7. I like this chapter, and if chapter 4 didn't exist, it would be my favorite. Now, let's talk about the juicy one, chapter 4. Oops, cliffhanger! If you do want to see a chapter 4 review, if this video gets 1 or 2k likes, I will post the chapter 4 review. It's already been worked on, but I kind of want to rework it a bit since I'm not really happy with how it's turning out. And with that said, if you did enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, and maybe think about joining the membership club, the hashtag GOATS. And if not, I hope you have a great day.